I want everybody to cast their minds back to a couple of years ago, even 5, 10 years ago, when you remember in the news every once in a while, you might troll your favorite news site, and you might see a couple of different eclectic stories that may or may not catch your mind, and it always had in the headline, Florida man does incredible shit, like wrestles an alligator who broke in their front door, okay? Or gets high on bath salts and eats people's faces on park benches. It was all crazy shit like that in the great state of Florida. And then lately, all of a sudden, not much is happening, okay? Like, they pretty much kind of turned everything around. Kind of coincides with somebody's certain election, but we don't really have to look very hard to realize that the stigma that surrounds the elusive Florida man it's kind of done and dusted, because you can see here, like, outside of the big cities like Tallahassee, Jacksonville, and then obviously like Miami, Sarasota, it's it's relatively safe, okay? The darker the blue, the area, the more propensity of crime in said county, but for large swaths of Florida, which, granted, it is a large state, but most of it's pretty safe, okay? And actually, when you take a look at it in comparison to the rest of this country, or to the rest of the country, it's actually like relatively below the line on a whole host of things, okay? Like you take a look at violent crime, okay? Violent crime 1,000 per 1,000 residents. It's below the national average, which is pretty good considering other large states wouldn't even come close, okay? Chances of becoming a victim of violent crime, 1 in 258. Which is pretty good, okay? And then especially if you're in, you know what, not Miami, okay, in certain areas, okay, not Jacksonville, not Lake City, you know, like the big places, okay? You know, that would stand to reason, of course. Property crime, even below, like, over a full point below the national average, okay? 1 in 56 chance. Crimes per square mile, it's like, obviously, it's a bigger state, but other than that, it's all good. Why is that? Because for the most part, outside of a couple of stupid red flag laws, which I'm not going to forget anytime soon, Florida has pretty good self-defense and castle doctrine and stand your ground laws, okay? And they're just kind of taking care of themselves, even with an influx of different citizens leaving other states, okay? And then, of course, the Cuban boat people that show up every once in a while. But whatever, they're there for a good reason. They're fleeing communism. No, Floridians know how to take care of their own. And then you get a story like this from the most based sheriff in the world. Florida sheriff urges homeowners to shoot invaders to save the taxpayer money. Yeah, no, fair enough. But he's dumb enough to break into your house. Just, you know, save on cleanup and don't bother calling 911 and then just dispose of the intruder in the Everglades. It's like, you know, hey guys, just look after your own shit, right? A Florida sheriff said that he's urging homeowners to get gun safety training while encouraging them to shoot home invaders to save taxpayers' money. Fair enough. If somebody's breaking into your house, you're more than welcome to shoot them in Santa Rosa County. We prefer that you actually do. The Santa Rosa County Sheriff Bob Johnson told that at a news conference several days ago, responding to an incident in Santa Rosa County where a homeowner reportedly shot at a repeat offender who attempted to break into their home. Johnson recommended a gun owner take a shooting and gun safety class. Of course, you should know how to properly handle and aim your chosen firearm. And it's like, there's nothing wrong with that, okay? The alleged burglar, I'm sure he was dressed in all black and not like a sesame seed bun. Brandon Joseph Harris reportedly had 17 prior arrests on his record. Let's just for fun's sake, let's see if we got like a mugshot. If that guy was trying to break into your home, do you think you'd start to take matters into your own hands? Just saying. If you take that, you'll shoot a lot better, and hopefully you'll save the taxpayers' money, Johnson remarked. Yeah, exactly, of the gun safety and handling training. You're not in trouble, he said to the unnamed homeowner. Come see us. We have gun safety class we put on every other Saturday. Sweet. BYOG? Or BYOR. Harris wasn't injured in the incident, Johnson remarked, adding he didn't get hit and now we have to pay for him. Oh, that sucks. I wish that there was a happy ending in this. Some people don't learn, the sheriff added. For us, he is job security. We deal with him all the time. Is this a press conference or an SNL skit? Because this is fucking... Oh, actually, no, it's not like a latter-day SNL skit, because this is actually funny. During last week's incident, the sheriff deputies were unable to capture Harris inside a home and arrested him. Johnson confirmed he had several active warrants for his arrest. The man was recorded stretching back to when he was 13, Johnson said. He had spent more than 6 years in prison, and he's now being held on a $157,500 bond and faces multiple charges, records show. Yeah, if only gun safety training was carried out by the homeowners, it wouldn't have to waste the money on the cot in the prison. Florida is one of several states that has a stand your ground law, which is important, and then also has castle doctrine as well, but stand your ground is a little bit more important when it comes to shooting dead a home intruder, which stipulates that any resident of a home has no duty to retreat and has the right to stand his or her ground and use or threaten to use force according to the text of the law. Yes, of course. But it's also like the elements of self-defense, and one of them is you have to have a reasonable fear for your life and then use appropriate force. So that's also very important. You can't just, yell at somebody across the street, "I feel threatened by you." That's not really going to be stand your ground law. Johnson, in a news conference, also criticized other states and municipalities for what he described as soft on crime policies regarding bail and sentencing reform, except for Texas, because they actually have more lax gun laws than you can, like we seen with, Chad and Kyle there, the old parental custody battle gone wrong, which is probably the right way for all states to conduct their own practice. Anyways, if you allow criminals certain liberties with your citizens, they're going to take the extra mile, he said. That's why people are leaving these areas in droves. New York, California, the rest of the Northeast, the rest of the Pacific Northwest, okay? You don't have the right to protect yourself or your property. Yeah, exactly. And Massachusetts has some of the strictest gun laws. Even though, like as strict as it is and as restricted as castle doctrine is in that state, you can still legally own a machine gun. It's really fucking weird. That's why people are leaving these areas in droves. You don't have the right to protect yourself or your property. Yes, exactly. And depending on what state you live in, different states have different laws, okay? Most states have castle doctrine in some form or fashion, right? You have the right to protect your home, okay? But it becomes very interesting, okay, as to what appropriate use of force is. So you could end up spending a lot of time in prison, even though somebody comes in, breaks in, and then just, tries to steal your flat screen television. Unless it's covered in, diamonds and jewels and dipped in 24 karat gold. If you're upstairs and, all of your kids are upstairs as well, and that's all they're there for, legally you're probably better off because, you could be totally 100% justified in shooting that person dead. But do you want to spend the next several years in and out of court, okay? Do you want to be paying hundreds of thousands of dollars in legal fees? I don't think so. Unless, of course, you're in Texas, where it's just like, yeehaw, stay off me property, where the moment you even come onto their bought and paid for land, or rather the proper terminology, enter their domicile, and they tell you to leave, you better, because a round could be justifiably following. Meanwhile, in other states, you have to wait until they become violent or despondent before you can even exercise any sort of self-defense. Just don't take my advice for any of this shit. I just, know how to lift shit, okay? I don't have any fucking legal expertise. I just know some of the laws in some of the places, whatever state you live in, okay? And then if you're in Canada, you're practically fucked. Hopefully the intruder takes mercy on your soul. The National Instant Background Check System, meanwhile, reported that February 2020 was the third highest February for gun sales since the system went into effect in 1988. About 2.55 million background checks were carried out for that month, although February 2021 saw about 3.44 million background checks. The data shows, well, what about gun show loopholes? What about illegal guns that get purchased? I thought everybody would be on board with more background checks. Yeah, it's almost like for every legal gun purchase that happens out there, where, most gun enthusiasts already know this. For every single instance where you need to buy a firearm, you have to go through a background check in some form or fashion. There's no real loopholes. There's no real way about that. That's just a Democratic talking point that's just been long disproven. So, if you live in Florida, which I would, of course, recommend it because the weather's relatively nice and, hey, In certain places, the women are relatively beautiful, and yeah, the best governor in the entire incorporated United States is there. So take the advice of this sheriff and then just dust those bitches who want to come in and cause a ruckus in your own place. You got the right to, so fucking stand your ground. With all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.